facing the police every single day.
Is life so dear, or peace so sweet, so as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course our Lord may take. But as for me, give me liberty, or give me death.
Law alone cannot make men see right.
It does not take a majority to prevail, but rather an irate, tireless minority, keen on setting brush fires of freedom in the minds of men.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. It has to be fought for and defended by each generation.
Now is the time to show one more proof your patriotism.
And with that, good morning, America. Welcome, Christians, conservatives, constitutionalists, libertarians, communists, Islamists, LGBTQ, RSTUV, WXYZ people, and anybody else I may have missed to the Setting Brushfires radio show here on Red State Talk Radio. I apologize for the introduction. We put our new stream up here on the websites. I had one of them pulled up, and it was actually going, so it was sort of doubling over, and I apologize for that right at the beginning of the show. I'm your host, Tim Brown, coming to you live here from the U.S.-occupied state of South Carolina. And for Muslim friends, I'm the infidel that Allah warned you about. I hold to the book, the Bible, as the authoritative Word of God. Glad that you guys have joined us here on Columbus Day. By the way, if you did not catch Friday's show, you need to do that. Share that with your indigenous people friends. Those are some people maybe I need to add in the introduction there. Your indigenous people friends. And share with them the truth about Christopher Columbus and our history, because that is being attacked just as much as our history is concerning the South and the War of Northern Aggression and other elements of our history now. So you need to share that with them. Go to settingbrushfires.com. It's last Friday's show, and Andre Domino was our guest. Great guest, by the way, and I highly recommend that you take a look at that. Excuse me, if you'd like to catch us and all the previous episodes, those are available on settingbrushfires.com. We're also live streaming right off the website now. Again, that's one of the things that caused some of the problem, because that's also on my other websites as well. So with that in mind, you can catch me on Twitter at FPPTim on Twitter. You can also follow me on USA.life at Setting Brushfires, as well as any number of outlets, social media, under the Washington Standard or Reform Media at Spreely, Gab, Mumblet, MeWe, Minds, and Steam It for what they're worth. If you're on any of those platforms, you're welcome to follow, and you also get the Setting Brushfires posts as well. We live stream the show not only on Red State Talk Radio, but we also do it on Twitch and Periscope. I believe that goes out to Twitter too. I'm not a big Twitter guy. It's kind of neat for certain things, I guess, but I don't have time to sit there and go back and forth with a bunch of people over, stuff. I just don't have the time for that. But we're streaming on those platforms, as well as Facebook at our page there, Setting Brushfires. Please like the page. We appreciate your support in that. And also, under the banner, if you click following, it'll say you want to see this directly in your news feed first. Click that. That ensures that you bypass a lot of the censoring that Facebook does. It tells them that you don't just like the page, but you want to see the content. If you'll click that, you'll get it. Also at YouTube, bit.ly/settingbrushfires, bit.ly/settingbrushfires. And those of you who've been subscribing, thank you very much for your support there. And also, if you'll click the little bell icon, that notifies you when we've got a new video up or when we go live or any of that. And you can always 6 to 7 every morning. You can watch the live stream right off of settingbrushfires.com right at the top. It comes on when that is available. Now, we've got a special guest this morning, and I wanted to kind of lead this up. there's been a lot of talk of gun databases being collected. They're illegal. That's number one. And number two is, for years, I know we were discussing it last night, and one of the things that I dealt with years ago was up north, and I can't remember the exact state, but there was a gun dealer there. He was a small gun shop, and the ATF guy comes in, and I think what it was some kind of check that he was doing. You know, that's a normal thing. I'm not a FFL person, so I don't know. I've had the paperwork to do, and I looked at it and I said, yeah, I'm not going through all this with you people. So I just decided not to sell guns. But the point was he was trying to do what was right there. The ATF guy came in, was basically sort of bullying him into getting his paperwork, which they do have to provide for certain instances, okay? They do. This guy didn't have a warrant for anything. He was going in there and basically photocopying all of his cells. That's a no-no. You're not supposed to be doing that. Now we have a report that's come out of Charlotte County, Florida, and this was from AmmoLand, and we're carrying it over at Guns in the News. They were gracious enough to allow us to carry the article there. And his Florida carry alleges illegal activities, including maintaining gun registry by Charlotte County Sheriff's Office. Now, what's going on here is there are people who are pawning guns. There is a list that's maintained of that. And then the cops are getting that list. And the obvious question that I'm going to have is, why are they getting an entire list of this, one? And two, what are they doing with it? And I'm hoping that my guest here today is going to be able to answer some of those questions. Let me give him a brief introduction here. Andrew Sheets is a reporter for Copwatch for 7 years. He believes that we do need cops, but we don't need corrupt cops, and to hold the bad ones accountable. And we do that with some of our stories as well. He's the one who broke the story on this gun pawn list, and the Florida sheriff there, and has called out the state attorney, which, excuse me, coincidentally is Amira Fox that we've been dealing with in the Deanna Williams case and the Carmine Messina case, and that I had to call out on Saturday for her not bringing justice when she should. She's a miserable state attorney. And so, Andrew, it's great to have you here on Setting Brushfires, man.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. I've got something in my throat. I apologize about that. Okay, so you got up early to be with us today, so I hope you had your coffee there. Tell us a little bit about Tell us a little bit about, first, kind of give us an introduction. I give it real brief. Tell us what you actually do there.
So what I do is like you said, I'm Copwatch. We hold cops accountable because somebody has to, and as you know, our founding fathers told us to. And so what I do is I through Sunshine Law record requests, FOIA requests, I find stories on bad cops and I investigate it, and I expose it on Facebook, YouTube, website. And because I don't know if you agree or not, they have internal affairs, but that's like asking the mafia to investigate the mafia. It's pretty, in my opinion, useless. They are hardly ever found guilty. And by the way, the reason why I started Copwatch years ago is because I had a bad neighbor turned into a stalker, took it to court. The sheriff deputy that was helping me on a case, they got a really good lawyer, got that sheriff deputy to flip and committed perjury and got the case thrown out. So that's why I started Copwatch. And, just for doing that, I've had death threats through the year. I've been illegally investigated. Last year I was investigated for almost a whole year on a story that we did on the sheriff and judges here. It was outrageous. I mean, they got into my Facebook, internet provider. We got the Deuces Peakums. It was nuts. And, of course, they didn't find me guilty because I'm a reporter. That's what I do. I do news stories. I know that I'm under investigation right now because We had a guy here that went nuts, and I'm a witness in a case against him, and he did ungodly felony witness tampering. He was doing a thing called spoofing. He spoofed my number where they pretend to be another, he pretends to be my number, and he called a company. They came here for a service. Of course, I didn't order that service, and that he reported me to the police. The police are now using that as an excuse to illegally investigate me, even though they know I did not do it. It's just disgusting. Yeah, I am highly hated here, and all I'm doing is, doing what our founding fathers said to do, is to hold our, our government accountable, shake the tree, and etc.
Sure, and there's a lot of people who don't like that. They don't think that you should be doing that. You should be questioning that authority and this, that, and the other. And I think that we should. When authority is working within its means, within its bounds, then it's okay to trust them. But when they're not doing that, there's a corruption. I've talked with other police officers who agree. They may not agree maybe with a certain tactic or an attitude some people have in their reporting, but they agree with holding corrupt cops accountable because they're really good cops. And one of those is, former sheriff in Lee County, Rod Shope, and some other men that I've talked to about these kinds of things. And they know there's corrupt cops, and they've gone after them themselves, which shows me they have a lot of integrity in doing that. You're just trying to help the people understand, look, these are the people who are supposed to serve you, and I'm just the guy trying to give you information so that you can hold them accountable. And people really should appreciate that kind of effort, because nobody else is going to do it. Nobody wants to be hated in that fashion. But we're up against a break here. We've got about 20 seconds or so, Andrew. You want to tell people the places they can find out about you and your work?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Sherritt County Copwatch. Just type that in on Facebook. And then on YouTube, just type in Sherritt County Copwatch. You can find me on YouTube. Live Free or Die People Before It's Too Late is another YouTube channel. And yeah, you just type in Sherritt County Copwatch on those two, and you will find it.
All right, great. We'll be right back with more of Andrew Sheets, Copwatch, right after these messages, settingbrushfires.com. Hang on. The old saying is, if you take my gold and silver, I'm left with nothing but lead and brass. Hi, this is Tim Brown from the Setting Brush Fires radio show. As the economy continues to beat its chest on fiat currency and debt, it's time you consider adding to your lead and brass portfolio, and Setting Brush Fires has the perfect solution for your ammunition needs. No matter if you need to purchase bulk ammo or just a box or two of ammunition, whether it's for your handgun, rifle, or shotgun, we're sure to help you stock up. Go to settingbrushfires.com/ammo and click to order from true red-blooded American patriots that have been featured on The Blaze and in USA Today, Business Week, and at Reason.com. Plus, if you place your order through settingbrushfires.com/ammo, you'll not only help support the Setting Brush Fires radio show, but you'll also get $15 off your first order. So don't give your ammunition business to big corporations who are attacking your God-given right to keep and bear arms, when you can go to settingbrushfires.com/ammo and invest in real patriots. The life of the flesh is in the blood. Moses penned those words thousands of years ago, and today we know just how true that is. Our blood is vital in bringing oxygen to our system, removing toxins, and fighting off infections and diseases. Healthy blood results in a healthy body. That's why I recommend our special multivitamin mineral phytonutrient complex. Check out settingbrushfires.com/health. Just 1 ounce a day will transform your blood into pristine form and provide you with all the daily nutrients your body needs in just 5 minutes. That's how long it takes with the patent-pending delivery system technology used in our product to ensure that these nutrients get into your cells in the fastest possible way. Nutrient absorption is the key to multivitamins performing what they're intended to do, and the vast majority of multivitamins on the market today, well, they simply never get into your system. Go to settingbrushfires.com/help to see this product in action. Also, be sure to check out our other amazing health products at settingbrushfires.com/health, where nutrition really gets in. All right, welcome back to Setting Brush Fires, settingbrushfires.com. I had to put my Tony Stark glasses on because these screens are like super bright on my eyes. We're back here with Andrew Sheets from Copwatch, and Andrew, let's talk about this thing that's come out here recently. This was written up by what's the guy's name? Crump, from Virginia Gun Owners of America, John Crump. And again, this comes from AmmoLand. We're carrying it at gunsinthenews.com. This will be up on settingbrushfires.com later on with the show. But what he's saying is, as reported by thegunwriter.com, Florida Carey sent a letter to Attorney General Ashley Moody demanding that she launch a statewide investigation into law enforcement's, quote, illegal abuse, misuse, and general operation of the Finder database, including the compilation of lists of gun owners and illegal retention of records. You want to kind of, because you're the guy who did all the background. You did all the heavy lifting here. John's just kind of pulled a story up here. I don't know who does the gun writer, but that's been out. But you're the guy who did the heavy lifting here. You're the guy who pulled all the records. You're the guy who's been investigating that. You want to bring people up to speed as to what was going on there in Charlotte County?
Yeah, so it's, and there again, like I said, that's why I do what I do. It's all about, people don't realize how much you can do just in FOIA request investigation. It's mind-blowing. So a friend of mine lives down the road, thought he might he thought he was being investigated by the Charlotte County Sheriff, so he said, can you do a search for my name in the database? And that's what blew it all open. We did it. I asked to do a search for his name in the database, which anybody can do. Please keep this in mind. You'll be shocked. And that's how it all started. His name came up. They said, yes, he's on this list. It was all redacted. And we're like, what? And then we're looking at the emails that he's on these lists, and these emails were talking about how see if you can work up a case on these people. And another email said, look at all these women buying guns. Maybe they're buying it for their criminal husbands and just stuff like that. It was profiling. And that's when we contacted Eric Friday. We said, this smells bad. And you know, Eric's like, well, I'm not sure. I said, reread 790 many, many times. And he wrote, reread 790 is 790.335 states that in Charlotte County and or Florida, the sheriff and the police are only supposed to get the gun and the serial number, not the whole information on the person that sold the gun or pawned a gun. And so what they were doing, they were illegally getting this list and literally illegally profiling the people on these lists, even though you've committed no crime. And I know the guy that wrote this bill, State Rep Lindsey Harrington and Marion Hammer. I'm sure you've heard of her from NRA Florida.
Yep.
Years ago, they made this 790 so hardcore, because what you didn't mention, and you got the information there, and you know about it. They stated in this statute that it's a third-degree felony for the cops and the sheriff or whatever government to do this, and it's a $5 million fine per agency. That's how pissed off they were when they wrote this. And the reason why they wrote it so hard is they found out, I think it was like 20 years ago, they found out in, I think it was the Miami area, that cops had a database and could literally, when they got a call for something in Miami, they could literally drive down the road of that neighborhood and say, okay, that person's got a gun in that house, that person's got a gun in that house. And you know, and I know, you already stated it when you opened the show, even the federal government can't have this. And they did. And that's why they made it so harsh. So after we broke the story, I did what 790 states. You're supposed to give the evidence to your local state attorney. So I filed an affidavit. I had it notarized. I sent it certified. And isn't that weird? Like we already discussed, Myra Fox mafia investigating the mafia, investigated, the sheriff, and said, we did nothing wrong. So after that, we got with Eric Friday. I was trying to contact the state attorney general, so was Eric Friday for 90 days. Eric Friday has 120 documents proving that he was trying to contact the state attorney general, because it also states in 790 that when the state attorney general is given evidence, she also must investigate. And she would not. It is, and then that's when Eric could not take it anymore. He said, I'm going national with this. By the way, on the gun writer, Lee Williams, who writes that, the reason why he didn't put any of my name or Copwatch in there is because he does hate me. He is an ex-cop.
Well, but at least he's putting out the information. That's a good thing.
That is true.
That
is true.
And that's where we can unite, is despite our differences of personality or whatever, if somebody's doing the right thing there, we'll support them, right?
Right.
Okay. So you may mention...
That's true.
Go ahead.
No, I said that's true. I agree.
Okay. All right. And I know you're happy about that, because you're like me. The issue is, can we get to what the issue is? It's not about our personalities. It's about, well, did somebody break the law? And it seems like that they did. Now, here's Amira's response to that. And you know what? I like bringing this up because I hear that her husband, Mike, his feathers get a little ruffled whenever I mention her, any of these investigations and things. So I'm happy to ruffle his feathers a little bit this morning. But here's her letter here to you. This is what she states, folks, and the people who are viewing it can see it. Dear Mr. Sheets, the State Attorney's Office, in receipt of your complaint, affidavit mailed April 23, 2019, alleging Sheriff Bill Prummell of the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office are maintaining a list of gun owners in violation of Florida State Statute, the one that you cited, 790.335, prohibition of registration of firearms electronic records. She says, please be advised I have reviewed your affidavit. We know she hasn't reviewed squat. Florida statutes, she probably doesn't know half of them. Your provided supporting documentation, as well as the unredacted versions of the emails from the CHCSO, that's the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office. It appears the redacted material was a collection of pawned or sold firearms provided by pawnbrokers and or secondhand dealers in Charlotte County, as required by chapters 538 and 539. But you're pointing out, yeah, they're not supposed to be giving out all this other extra information when these things are done. She says, they do depict firearms in possession of the pawnbroker, secondhand dealer, and the name of the conveying customer. These emails did not contain a list, record, or registry of privately owned firearms. I question that. From seeing the documents, I'm going to show the people the documents. They'll be able to see them at settingbrushfires.com a little later. And then she goes on to say, additionally, because this is not a list of firearm owners, well, obviously it is. They're the ones who sold them, so they were firearm owners.
That's correct.
The transmission of retention of these emails is of no consequence. Well, that's just absolute. If somebody can't smell what this woman's shoveling, I don't know how to help you. Therefore, from a factual and legal standpoint, nothing in the email reflects a violation of Florida state statutes. Now, how do you respond to Ms. Fox that nothing in this, actually it's written by Chief Investigator Jay Purdy, whoever that is. How do you respond to Ms. Fox's letter here when she says there's nothing in this, this is all legal, this is according to the law? How do you respond to that?
Amira Fox also hates my guts because I exposed her for, as you know, the corruption. You've done stories on her corruption too, so I got her on video many times. So there again, I believe it's because, you know, who wrote the story. Of course, you can't hold cops accountable, you know, and et cetera, et cetera. Like I said, it's the mafia investigating the mafia. It is a list. It is. And like you said, you know, that the part where Eric Friday, the best gun lawyer in Florida, freaked out about is especially when you pawn a gun. If you know what pawning is, you're loaning it to them to get money for a little while, and then you're getting gun back. You are a gun owner.
That's right.
They say that you're not a gun. You are a gun owner. You own the gun. You pawned it just to get some money for a little bit, and you got it back.
Yep.
So that is a list of people. And then profiling. Like I said, we have the emails. I forgot to tell you, Tim, there's another thing we did to make sure that the state attorney, Ashley Moody, knew about it. And Eric Friday didn't know. Yeah, there you go. There's the list. That's a list. That's insane. There's another thing we did, Tim, that Eric Friday didn't know about. Me and the guy that broke the story on this, well, actually the victim, he's a gun collector, we found out that the State Attorney General, Ashley Moody, was going to a dinner here in town with the sheriff. And don't be mad when I call it like this, Tim, but to me, I call it a cop sucker dinner. It's for all the people that, you know, praise the police and think they can do no wrong. So we went to that dinner with copies of these emails, Tim, and we were both wearing body cameras, and we actually gave it to State Attorney General Ashley Moody in person. She had the papers. We told her verbally, and we have this on video. I'll send it to you later. I forgot to do that. Sorry about that. As we're giving her evidence of this felony crime, the sheriff came up and took her away.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at that at all. In fact, I'm showing people a list, this list of the names and stuff. So, you know, if there's anybody out there watching this, you see your name pop up on here. Seems to me you've got a criminal suit that you can file here against those who are putting this list together, and it is a list. Look, let's be honest about something. Well, we can't because we're up against a break here. Andrew, real quick, you got about 10 seconds. Tell people where they can find out more about you, man.
All right, yeah, like I said, all you got to do is type in Charlotte County Copwatch on Facebook and or YouTube. You can find me. And by the way, that last list that you just posted that was raw, that came from Sarasota Sheriff, who threatened me with a crime when he gave it to me accidentally.
Okay. All right, we'll be right back with more from Andrew Sheets. I'm going to show you more of what he's uncovered here right after these messages, settingbrushfires.com. Hang on. Hi, this is Tim Brown with the Setting Brush Fires radio show. Our Creator commanded us in Deuteronomy 6 to teach our children diligently the things He commanded us. Americans used to do this with their children, and now the fruit is being borne in home, society, and government as a result of abandoning these commands. Instead of teaching our children ourselves and inputting true American principles and values, which are biblical principles and values, many parents have sent their children off to statist indoctrination centers where God has been banned and are surprised when their children turn out to be godless statists or when their children are indoctrinated by sodomites, Islamists, and humanists. Well, there is an answer. Teach your kids at home. You need only your Bible and the curriculum settingbrushfires.com promotes. Best of all, they'll be learning from the people most able to teach them, you, the parents. This isn't a school, it's an education, and teaches your children to think, not just retain facts. Best of all, it's free to start, and there's a 100% no-risk guarantee. For more on the curriculum, and to see at least 26 reasons why our curriculum is exactly what your children and grandchildren need, go to settingbrushfires.com/curriculum. That's settingbrushfires.com/curriculum. Do what you need to do to equip your posterity. Our founding fathers did. Are you tired of the censoring, political correctness, and downright fascism and Marxism that seeks to curb your free speech on corporate-owned social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter? Are you sick of being banned from those platforms because someone with an opposing viewpoint reported you for simply posting a harmless statement of fact? Hi, I'm Tim Brown from the Setting Brush Fires radio show. Be sure to check out a new social media platform that does not censor lawful free speech and is funded by the people and for the people. Go to settingbrushfires.com/social media and sign up today to help end the tyranny of corporate social media in America. You can also upgrade your account for premium services. Go to settingbrushfires.com/social media today. All right, welcome back to Setting Brush Fires, settingbrushfires.com, and on the line we've got with us Andrew Sheets from Copwatch down in Charlotte County, Florida. Andrew, during the break, you sent me a message that you believe Lee County also has this list, and I guess we can pile this on to the plethora of stuff that the felon sheriff, and that's what I call him. Look, that's my opinion according to the documents I've seen, according to what I read in the law, and so I don't mind saying he's a documented felon. I'm not saying he's convicted of anything, but I'm saying document-wise, the guy has been impersonating a police officer for well over a decade, up until he became appointed sheriff. You don't have to be a police officer to be a sheriff, but the fact of the matter is there is a criminal there as a top cop. We've seen that evidenced in what happened with Miss Williams. He has violated numerous ethics on the FDLE website. There is now, got a letter from Sheriff Shope yesterday, and I will post this also, even though this is it's sort of related, not unrelated, but I'll put it at the bottom of the post today, that Sheriff Shope got a letter from FDLE, and they have opened a quote-unquote inquiry, but Sheriff Shope says they put a investigation number with it, which means this is more than just an inquiry. They have it with the Office of Executive Investigations. They also have the commission, the Florida Commission on Ethics is investigating him, and this is going down to the police standards to investigate as well. So there's at least 2, possibly 3 investigations going on with Lee County Sheriff Carmine Marcino, and this wouldn't surprise me at all to find out he's getting this stuff. He's already as crooked as a dog's hind leg. So in any case, you're saying the list that I was showing people is from Sarasota. Is that correct?
Okay, so the first redacted list you showed is the beginning of this. That was Charlotte County Sheriff. The redacted list is Charlotte County Sheriff. The unredacted list is Sarasota Sheriff, who threatened me with a crime because I had the list. He was the one that accidentally gave it to me. And yeah, as you can see, there's 120 names on that. That is just for 1 month. And at that time, this is months ago, I was calling those people, and isn't that weird, Tim? They're not criminals. And isn't that weird, Tim? They're gun owners.
Yep.
And the sheriff had that list and was profiling with it.
Yeah, and people have to understand this. When we talk about lists, the issue is not to know how many guns you have. The issue is to know if you're a gun owner. That's the issue. And here's the thing. Even if you're a person that sells your gun, let's say you sold it to the pawn shop. What if you find yourself on that list? You say, well, this is the guns they have. Okay, there's no need for cops to know about that unless they're looking for a specific gun that's been stolen, right? I mean, that's the only reason I can see that they would come in and they would say, do you have this gun with this serial number? If you do, you need to let us know that. I can buy that, but they don't even need, well, the only reason they would need to know it if it's stolen, if it's been reported stolen. That's the only time that I think they would even need to do that, but that would be very specific. That would come under a warrant. That would come under an affidavit and all this other stuff. This isn't about any of that.
You are correct. You nailed it on the head. Like I said, in 790, it says only the serial number and the name of the gun. As you see, they can't see it because it's so tiny unless they get a bigger screen. But that's the gun, the serial number, the name, the last name, the birth date. Dude, I could take that list. You know, I pay for whitepages.com. I was looking up these people all day long. There is enough information that, you know, especially with the police, my God, if they get that information, they can put that into David. They can put it into FCIC. They can put it into NCIC, and they got it all. Yeah, that redacted one, that's the sheriff, Charlotte County Sheriff. Yeah, it is bad. So you are correct. They're only supposed, if they find out one of the guns is hot, then they're supposed to be able to go to the pawn shop and get the rest of the information, not just get all the information right away. By the way, I also did an investigation on going to regular gun shops, because if you sell a gun to a regular gun shop, they fill out a piece of paper, and I went to multiple gun shops. They all know me here now, and I've been threatened by most of them because, you know, I do a body camera. That's what I do. I'm a vlogger. They told me the sheriff was sending thugs in the store and told them that if you don't send us the paper with all the information, you might not have a shop anymore.
Yeah, that's the bully tactics of, you mentioned it a minute ago, mafia tactics. But what we're looking at
Correct.
here, even what's interesting here is as I'm going through this, it kind of looks like those things that Eric Holder sent with Fast and Furious to Congress. You remember when Darrell Issa held up those big black pieces of paper because they were so redacted.
That's correct.
Of what's going on. So I'm assuming with this, I mean, why even take the time to waste a toner to print this out? I mean, you're not providing any information. So my question is this: are they hiding in there the same thing we saw in the unredacted stuff? I mean, they're just blacking it out. That would be my guess.
Yes. Yes, that is what's happening. Also, I need to mention, too, to do my investigation, like I said, you know, was it just Charlotte County? And the reason why I found Sarasota is because it took a while, but I got all 60 sheriff's emails. I got all 200 police agencies in Florida, and I started doing mass emails, and I started doing it's called a sunshine law request here. I started asking, you know, sunshine law request for your gun pawn list. And this is where it got really scary, Tim. Almost all of them responded back with, I can't give you that because of 590 or 790. That's a statute here which states that you can't give it to me. So if you state that, that means you have it. Tim, almost everybody is doing it here. And I talked to Gun Owners of America, Crump with AmmoLand. He agrees with what we were talking about offline, that we think this might be happening nationwide. And now that Gun Owners of America has the evidence that, yes, they are talking to their lawyers to see if they want to start with Florida first and then see how big this goes nationwide. Because this, like you just showed the list, is that scary? All that information, and that's just 1 month. And how many years have they been doing this, Tim?
Yeah, and if people want to find out about that, if you may have seen your name on there or somebody that you know, and I know we had it smaller, my screens are sort of large, so I have to blow it up there, so thank you for pointing that out, that you're seeing it small. If people have seen that, or maybe you're in one of these counties, and you want to check that out, we're going to have that up at settingbrushfires.com. This is courtesy of Andrew, and we want to give him credit for that. Because, Andrew, it's very important. All of us have different niches that we get into as far as our reporting, things that we get into, and you're staying on this. And, you know, you and I talked the other day. There are a lot of people who do reports on police officers and this, that, and the other. Sometimes we don't have all the information. That's true. And sometimes we may jump the gun on things. But on this seems pretty cut and dried to me. This seems very clear. You've got a excuse me, you've got a whole list here that is in violation of law. It's clearly in violation of the law. I mean, I'm looking at it here. I got our friend Crowley. He's popping me on the law here, and I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
And I pulled the law up a minute ago while you were talking. This is clearly in violation of that. And what makes it so bad is this: the people who are charged with dealing with enforcement of the law, people like Carmine Mercino, Sheriff Prummell, Amira Fox. They don't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole. And Amira, as far as she's concerned, she's just following in the footsteps of Steve Russell, who didn't do squat. I mean, we just got a story out. We're going to have it out probably today. I mean, she lets a guy out, murders 2 people. She lets him off the hook. She don't want to prosecute him. So she's got blood on her hands. These other people are doing this stuff, and they're doing it unlawfully. And I'm telling you, man, these people have to be brought to justice. If they're not brought to justice, we're not going to guard our liberty. We're going to lose it. So I applaud you for bringing it out. I mean, I know it takes a lot. Everybody wants everybody to like them, and I'm sure you would like for people to like you for what you do. But the reality is the criminals are going to hate you because they don't want to be exposed. That's the issue.
Correct. Here's the really sad part. After I gave Ashley Moody, the state attorney general, the evidence, like I said, you know, not to me, I call it the cop sucker meeting, dinner for cops. She went on stage to make her speech, and I could tell that she changed it. because she stated in her speech, she goes, and I know that there are people out there that are, you know, saying bad things about police, and we can't do that because we have to have faith in them. I just gave her evidence of a felony offense of the head sheriff, and she made that statement. By the way, we got that video too, dude. And here she is saying that I'm a bad person for giving her evidence of a crime. Is that disgusting?
It's absolutely ridiculous. But then Ashley Moody has her own little, how shall we say, inconsistencies in following the law and corruption as well. In fact, we're dealing with that with some of this issue with Deanna and with the sheriff down there. All right, Andrew, we've got about 15 seconds here. Tell people where they can find out more about you, man.
You can find me, Charlotte County Copwatch, on YouTube and Facebook. Just type it in, and it will come up. I need to tell you real quick, too, I contacted the NRA. The NRA said we cannot say anything bad about cops because we support them.
Yeah, that's a shame. They came out with that stupid thing about putting a cop in every school, and I'm like, why don't you just say, let's get rid of all the laws that infringe on the teachers' rights and principles and stuff, the thing that you say you stand for. I get it, brother. I get it. All right, we'll be back with more of Andrew Sheets' final segment coming up here at SettingBrushFires.com. Hang on.
Essential oils are both exciting and promising when it comes to taking care of your own and your family's health. Whether you're applying essential oils topically, enjoying the aromatic benefits through diffusing, or taking essential oils internally, the positive effects of essential oils are boundless. That's why you'll want to ensure that the essential oils you are using are capable of delivering on their promise. You'll want to make sure that you are choosing essential oils for their potency and their purity. You'll want to get your essential oils through SettingBrushFires.com. Our pure essential oils are revolutionizing the way families manage their health. We harness nature's most powerful elements and share these gifts through our global community of wellness advocates. Go to SettingBrushFires.com/essential oils. That's SettingBrushFires.com/essential oils. Experience the healing power of nature today.
SettingBrushFires.com, and we're running up against the end of the show here. It's the last segment, and Andrew, you know what we do here on the last segment is we usually kind of wrap up what we're doing, and then we have a call to action for people. I don't like giving people information that they don't know what to do with. They say, "Oh, well, I need to be careful. Maybe I don't want to go pawn my gun in this county or that county," but then they don't know if they're going to another county and they pawn a gun there. If they're not doing the same thing. We're just giving, what, 2 counties here. And I can tell you from reporting that we've had before, I know there are members of the ATF who do this stuff. I don't even know why we have an ATF. I believe it's Brian Boyd. We're starting a show with Brian Boyd every Tuesday. And Brian gave me the history on that it came down to taxation and stuff like that. Frankly, I think we ought to get rid of the ATF. I just don't see any constitutional means. Tobacco shouldn't be controlled by the government. It really shouldn't. Alcohol shouldn't be controlled by the government. I just don't understand their ties to that, except they're trying to get money. That's their whole reason for that. Same thing with firearms, same thing with explosives. I've told people there's nothing to fear from a law-abiding citizen owning whatever kind of weapon. There really isn't, because the law-abiding citizen isn't looking to hurt anybody. And those weapons are to be used, the Second Amendment, as part of the militia, as part of defense to keep a free state. It's not to be used to commit crimes. And law-abiding citizens, look, if over 100 million of us who have 300 million of the guns in this country were a problem, everybody would know it. But we're not. We're not the problem at all. The problem now is becoming a tyrannical government who has disregard for the law. They seek to sweep it under the rug. They seek to cover up their criminality. And I'm glad there are guys like you out there who are seeking to hold them accountable. So I applaud you in that. Now let's close out. We're gonna we've got about 9 minutes here, so there's a video people can watch here. Now this isn't done by you. This is Fort Scott Munitions, but this is part of the report here on firearm registry. And that's going to be also up at settingbrushfires.com after the show as well. But have you got to see this video yet that's in the report by Crump?
Actually, I don't think I have.
Okay. All right. I highly recommend people look at that, because that's it's really interesting, because he's pulling out the same things that we're talking about here. And as far as gun owners of America is concerned, here's what they've written, just so people know. Gun owners of America share the concerns brought to light by Florida Carry Incorporated of the blatant mishandling and abuse of this data by the Charlotte County Sheriff's Department and Sheriff Bill Prummell, in clear violation of Florida statute. Did you hear that, Amira Fox? Did you hear that, Ashley Moody? It's in clear violation. You people are ignoring it. You're part of the problem. As far as I'm concerned, you're accomplices after the fact, because you've been given the information and you've sloughed it off. This is the very thing I talked about bringing justice. This is not only unlawful and unethical, which means it's criminal, but also demonstrates that law enforcement and other government agencies are more than willing to use data and information on gun owners to make a working registry, even if that means breaking the law themselves. It's a prime example of why Gun Owners of America is against any system that collects and stores information on gun owners, including universal background checks. Amen. It is unknown whether other sheriff's agencies in Florida are maintaining similar records. However, we at Gun Owners of America stand behind Florida Carry Incorporated in their calls for an investigation into these illegal activities. Thank you, Gun Owners of America. NRA won't stand up to this stuff, but I mean, well, they did put in place the law, but where's the cries from the NRA over this stuff? I mean, I haven't heard them. I haven't read that in there. And of course, we've seen the corruption that's come about in the NRA as well. But thank you, Gun Owners of America, for standing up for the law there. What do you say there, Andrew?
So what I say is, what they told me is just like the NRA told me, other people have told me, they can't enforce the law on this because, Tim, comprehend how many people would be per block charged and fined. And they said, well, people would lose faith in the law. Well, they should lose faith in the law when they're all breaking the law, as you just stated. I can get charged with a crime all day long, but they can't. Is that equal justice?
No, it's not. And it's, you know, here's
correct.
Yeah, I think there's something that we're missing there. You're saying we should lose faith in the law. I agree if nobody brings justice, but here's the thing. If the people would bring justice against those who are breaking the law here, people would have faith in it. They would say, okay, you know, I might have misjudged you, but hey, you did the right thing here. So that gives me a little confidence in you. If you don't do it, that's where they lose faith in the people who are supposed to execute the law. And as long as we let them do that, as long as we don't hold their feet to the fire, and that's our job to do. You pointed out the Founding Fathers. This is why they put in there. There's a freedom of the press. There's a freedom of speech.
Correct.
And I thought about this morning as I was getting out of the shower with things. You know, we talk about freedom of speech for all kinds of stuff. We want to produce pornography and call that freedom of speech. There's no speech in that. That's not what that is. We're talking about what's in print, what we say, and as long as we are not libeling or slandering somebody, then it is free speech. It is open season to call out the corruption and to call and to demand that justice be there. So I think what you're saying there is right. If these people that we've elected or we've put in office, we've given authority, if they're not bringing justice, guess what? They are criminals too, and we should not trust them one iota. In fact, we should look to remove them from office, and then once they're removed, charge them with accomplices after the fact for what they're allowing to go on. I'll leave it over to you.
It's funny you mention that. Isn't it RICO when you got 3 or more people working together? Look at how many people and agencies are working. This is literally, in my opinion, criminal RICO stuff. I agree with your opinion too. If they actually did their job, then yes, they would believe that people would believe in law enforcement are doing their job. But when they don't do it against their own, oh my God. And you said too, who do we contact? You are correct. You contact the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office, contact the Sarasota Sheriff's Office, Ashley Moody, State Attorney General. State Attorney General is Ashley Moody. Meyer Fox is the State Attorney. Also, too, the one person, Tim, that can do damage and do his job is also Rick DeSantis of Florida, has the power to take Bill Prummell out of office for a felony crime.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to get him to act on, Ron DeSantis there, the governor. We want him to act, and apparently he has, with at least the investigations, according to Sheriff Shope. You call up there, you ask about what's going on in Lee County. It gets directed to FDLE now. Now, that's more than I ever got from the governor's office. They wouldn't even respond to me over the documents and the reports and everything that I put out over there. Neither did the Attorney General. And so I'm in agreement with Amy. She's commenting from YouTube. The government that breaks the laws in so many ways and get away with it. Look at CPS and seizing children from loving families. I agree. We have CPS out of control. We have all of these agencies out of control, not being held accountable. And if we don't hold them accountable, all we're doing is emboldening the tyranny that forges our chains. That's why people like you, Andrew, are so important in bringing this out. People have to understand you're not doing it to be, just a, I don't know what the word, my little girls will say it. You're not doing it just to be a meanie. You're doing it because you think it's the right thing. You see the law, and you see those who are charged with upholding the law, and they're not doing it, and so you have to call them out. I mean, if you've got a conscience, you got to call them out somewhere. So in any case, we're going to have that information up where people can contact Amira. She can have her phone ring off the hook all day long. She can have her email inbox filled up as far as I'm concerned. Same thing with Ashley Moody, same thing with Ron DeSantis. I'll get that stuff and we'll have it after the show up on settingbrushfires.com where we post the video and the podcast. And people, this is what it's going to take. You have to do the stuff. You cannot sit back and let Andrew do it all for you. He's one person.
Correct.
But you start getting a bunch of voices behind Andrew and the documentation. That's the key. Andrew's already done the heavy lifting for you. He's got the documentation. The law is there. We'll put that up as well. There is no question the law is being violated. And the reality is the people have to enforce it. Any last words, Andrew?
Yes, remember, like you said, to look for me, Charlotte County Copwatch on Facebook and YouTube. I am everywhere. And like you said, our founding fathers said it, you have to hold your government accountable. You got to shake the tree. If you don't, we're going to end up just like we were when we came to America, under British rule or something like it.
Yeah, and we're already seeing evidence of that. We're seeing, not to get off subject, but it's kind of tied with the guns, the red flag laws. Those things are a violation.
Yep.
We had Dr. Edwin Vieira on. He says this is a violation of more than half of the Bill of Rights. The push for that's being pushed by the president. I know a lot of people like President Trump, but the fact of the matter is that is unconstitutional, it's unlawful, and he's watching it take place by the states under a vast majority of Republican governors. People have to understand this isn't about a party. This is about an agenda that's being pushed on you. My friend Bradley wrote an article. I'll also add this to it since I'm making mention of it, on George Washington and our founding fathers warning against party affiliation because they pit us one against another so that we're not looking at them and the crimes they're committing. We're trying to fight with one another. And we don't want to do that. What we want to do is we want to unite around the law, and then we want to act accordingly. Now, Andrew's given you guys down there in at least 2 counties in Florida, he's given you the ammunition to fight back against corruption in your government. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to put down your guns? Are you going to unload them? Are you going to turn them in? What are you going to do? Or are you going to act on it? Andrew, we got about 15 seconds here, and I appreciate you joining us this morning. Tell people again, real quickly, where they can find out more about you.
Yeah, again, on Facebook and YouTube, all I got to do is type in Charlotte County Copwatch, and it will come up. I do news stories multiple times a day. And we all must fight. If we don't, we're going to lose our country.
No, I totally agree. And Andrew, I know you don't usually get up so early and everything, but I appreciate you getting up early for us, coming on the show, sharing the things that you've got. We're going to have that up at settingbrushfires.com probably within the hour. It may take a little longer. I'm not sure. I got to pull a lot of other resources here. But this is so you people can act. We want you to act. If you don't act, then the work is for nothing. So do that. You guys have a great Monday, great week. Lord willing, we'll be back with you tomorrow. Insider's Intelligence with intelligence analyst Brian Boyd. That's going to be a regular show here on Tuesdays on Setting Brush Fires. Look forward to seeing you then. Till then, God bless you. See ya.
Hey, Sheriff County, this is Sheriff County Copwatch. I am using any video here with under fair use if you have criticism, reporting, teaching, etc. And please donate. I do not make money from YouTube, and there are different ways to donate in the video links. Thanks.